guys to the lights then.
Revs rise, get ready to go, don't we? The clutches drop. Oh, bad start there from the front row. I think it's Jack Croucher who didn't hook up particularly well. Now, who was I talking to yesterday? I think it was Sam Cranston, actually, and he was saying he was relying on the launch control on his machine. He left it on too long and it cut out, which is why he had a terrible start in the rookies. And I do remember AJ telling me years ago that he never used the launch control on his BMW off the line because he found it actually hampered his performance. I do wonder if some of the riders are relying too much on the electrics and not enough on their own skill set and their clutch control, because it's not actually a perfect thing in the real world of racing at the end of the day. Well, is that Wainwright in second there, I think?
I think you're right, yeah, because it looks like
recognition of this distance is a lot better than mine.
Oh, yes, it looks like John Railton leading the way on the black Panigale V2.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, number 71, John Railton, is leading the way. Now, of course, that V2 Panigale.
McLean's, mate, bit of action there. Sorry to interrupt you, dude. We'll work out who that is.
Just a long way out of McLean's as well.
Yep, here you go. The rider is up to his knees now. He's up to his feet there, so we'll see who doesn't trip the timing beam when they come over the line. Can't quite work out who that is. I do know that it's not Josh Wainwright or John Railton, because they've come flying over the line, as is Phil Baker, who's up to third already. Nicky Wilson down in fourth there, so not a great start for Nicky. David Kraviecki, then Don Gilbert, Luke Wallington, Clayton Grover leads the way in the Clubbers, then Croucher, Halliday, Benstead, Hinchcliffe moving up 4 places, so a good effort from Harry there. McGlynn, Pete Baker, Taylor, Forbes, Cowdery, Healy, Penrice, Wren and Burrell.
Looks like Seb Jenkins, unfortunately, is the rider. Yeah, so I can see the plain white arrow helmet of Seb Jenkins. Yeah, so he's walking, he's behind the barrier, he's perfectly fine, but I can imagine he's not in the best of moods.
Poor old Seb, that bike has had more hits than Elvis, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's the same bike he had, because that bike he had at Stettin did take looked like a lot of pounding, to be honest. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if that was just scrap value by the end of that particular meeting. Anyway, it looks like Wainwright is out in front as he trips the timing beam over the back there for the second time. This will be his first flying lap then. He did a 1:14.2 from a standing start, so definitely not hanging around. Here he comes then over the line, that 1:14.2.
Wow, 109.
Oh wow, opening bit of a 1:09.786. He wants that lap record. He will have fresh rubber on board. John Railton goes with him, though not quite as quick. He's about 1.2 seconds behind. Does a 10.5. Nicky Wilson recoups her place there as he goes past on Phil Baker. He's also into the 10.7s there. Kraviecki, Gilbert, Croucher, Wallington, Halliday, Grover, Benstead, Hinchcliffe, McGlynn, Pete Baker in 11th place in class, then and Taylor rounding at your top 15. So yeah, I think Josh has got his eyes on the prize here, don't you, mate?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I'm just looking down here and in the grandstand we see Callum Manley just watching his mentor Pete Baker on. Give us a wave. There he is. Hello. But watching Pete Baker is currently in 14th place overall, 11th place in class for the experienced Kings Lynn man. Just half a second behind the man in front though. That's Seamus McGlynn. So he's knocking on the door of the top 10 in the power bikes at the moment is Pete Baker. But in the meantime, our race leaders are coming down the back straight now, heading towards the Robert Chicane for the third time, and it is Josh Wainwright pulling out an advantage there. It was 1.2 seconds over John Railton. This time around it's 1.28, so marginally quicker that time over Railton. Nicky Wilson up next, Phil Baker, Kraviecki, everybody inside the top 11, all holding station. McGlynn ahead of Hinchcliffe now. Hinchcliffe, of course, Harry Hinchcliffe, third of the Clubmans as it stands, ahead of Pete Baker. Pete Baker ahead of Chris Taylor, then it's Scott Forbes, Cowdery, Lee Healy, Alex Penrice, Matt Wren and Jason Burrell, who retired from one of the earlier races. In fact, they won earlier on today. So good stuff so far for Jason Burrell. 3 points on the cards at the end of lap number 3. Kissick, Matuzes, Gates, Hunter, Houghton has made up a position, as has Cheeseman on Thompson. Then it's Pastana over Farley this time around. Mercer, De Gregorio, Latimer and Harvey rounding out the 33 bikes on circuit.
PB this time for Josh Wainwright over the back there, so that means it's going to be a very fast sort of lap time. John Railton though does indeed go purple at first sector time, so he's trying desperately to stay in touch with the leader here. Wainwright, of course, is trying desperately to claim the lap record as well as 25 points for his trouble. Josh is tucked in very tight indeed as he comes across the line for completes his next lap. It's the fastest lap of the race, and still that lap record remains elusive. We're only talking a couple of tenths of a second here. It's a 109.753. What are we looking for? A 109.
It's a 109.481.
So we need a 109.4 low, something like that. And fair play to Jonathan Railton. No, he's to the 109s as well. The 854. And it's a 110 for Nicky Wilson. I don't think we've seen Nicky quite crack the 109s yet. And I say yet because I know Nicky's very capable of doing that. And he's obviously seeing those two disappear in front of him at a great rate of knots. He did indeed get a green PB first light there.
Yeah, he was half a tenth away from cracking that 1 minute 10 bracket.
Yeah, it's only a fraction of a second, but it's all the difference needs to be as we see them go yellow now. I think already early in the race, I do wonder if the tyres could be just going off just that little bit. We are talking fractions of a second here, but of course that's the difference between getting a lap record and not getting a lap record. Back in the club of battle, it is Benstead who's found a way past on Grover and leads him by about half a second. Oh, Railton going very wide there, working the berm a little bit on the exit. Again, it's a 109.9 and it's just a yellow lap there. So a 109.9, so sub 110 around Donington. It's an average lap in in Josh Wainwright's world. But there we go. 10.337 this time for Railton. He lost a little bit of time exiting Roberts that time round. A bit further back, Crouchy goes past on Kraviecki to move himself up into 6th place overall. Benstead still leads Grover. They're pretty much side by side over the line last time, so Grover's certainly not giving up on this one. Seamus McGlynn not having a great Donington, unfortunately for Seamus. He's down in 10th place in class, 12th place overall as the number 41. Sorry, the Norihaga. No, sorry.
Almost. It's Colin Thompson.
Comes into the pits there.
Leaders then are already down the back straight, and looking at the tracking there, could be that we're coming into some slower riders.
Yeah.
You can say they're coming out of the chicane now, and then
I'm amazed how quickly these guys catch the slower riders, because there's only about 10 seconds between the fastest and slowest here, but such is the pace, it really is. So you're right, Josh is going to soon have things compromised. Does a 109.811, so all his last few laps have all been in the 109, high 109s. He'd love just one of them to have been in a mid 109, but unfortunately that's not to be. He's definitely not going to do anything special on this particular race. I do wonder if his absolute best lap gets put together if he wouldn't crack the lap record, because he's gone green again in sector 1 last time round. So that means a PB, maybe not the overall fastest, but you're getting a PB from Josh. Is a very fast time as he passes another rider out the back there into McLean, shows him a clean pair of Pirellis. Up we go in the general direction of Coppers once again. The timing beam, yeah, he does indeed go yellow. I thought that would be the case. Railton punching his way past the back markers as well.
Railton doing a good job here, because of course that Ducati Panigale V2 it would go around the twisty bits there, but it is a relatively long straight there, isn't it? And then into a chicane, and then again, not the longest, but long enough that he'll lose out on a few tenths or hundredths by the end of it as he crosses the line now. So Wainwright into the 111s, Railton 1 minute 10.7.
That's the back marker effect, unfortunately, coming into play there for Josh. Now this is a 12 lap race, this one, isn't it, mate? So not quite as long as the earlier race today in the heat of the afternoon sun, but there'll be more than enough of a workout on these powerful machines. Grover passed on Benstead last that time round as well. So Clayton, but only just past him to be fair, so not a lot between them. These two definitely having a good scrap. Certainly being made to work for his points this weekend. Somebody else going very slowly across.
That's Jason Burrell. He retired earlier on today, Jason Burrell. I'm going to keep my eye on him. Hopefully he doesn't come in to retire. No, he's carrying on around Redgate there. So
lost 3 places on that particular lap, so clearly some sort of issue there. There's a 119 against a PB of 114. Way right into the chicane.
Yep, here he comes.
Once again, still hotly pursued by Railton.
Looks like Railton got a little bit caught there with that's Dan Farley's.
Big lap, yeah.
You can say probably say Dan Farley is a back marker there, but it's all very strange because Dan Farley is a very fast rider.
Yeah.
Which is the issue as you mentioned earlier on.
I wonder if Dan's had some sort of an issue there. Actually, maybe had a bit of a wobble somewhere, because it seems strange to see him being caught like that. But then you look at his fastest lap, it's a 119. Shows you the sort of pace you're going to be on if you want to be top of the club and the power bike. Sorry.
Well, Clayton Grover leading the Clubman 1000s ahead of Tom Benstead by 3.2 seconds.
Yeah, it's a good gap there. It's the biggest gap we've seen all weekend, I think. So
yeah, you're right
Clayton
there.
looking good to add to his bronze medal collection with the gold there.
Well, that's Jason Burrell just crossing the line there. So whatever issue he had on the previous lap seemed to have rectified themselves.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's into the 116s there, so a couple of seconds away from his best, but at least he's not losing as much as he was previously.
Josh Wainwright out of the chicane once more and onto the front straight, number 26 Honda Fireblade. This time around it's a 1 minute 10.2, so albeit a yellow lap in terms that he's not done a personal best in either first or second sector, it's still 1.4 seconds quicker than the man behind John Railton. Nicky Wilson
I'm
has
watching
gained,
Nicky Wilson there, he's getting close, isn't he?
Yeah, he gained half a second on John Railton on that lap.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Nicky claiming 20 points here. John Railton had some good runs and he's definitely having a good race here, certainly being dragged along by Josh Wainwright at the start of that race while Nicky had a bad opening lap. But I think Nicky's making up for it, he's getting that Suzuki working nicely. I always thought Ducatis are quite kind on their tyres. Maybe that's not the case. You never know, of course. There's still so many things that go into setups and things like that. And so Wainwright trips the timing beam over the back there once again. We've gone from doing high 109s to low 110s as far as Josh goes at the moment.